Have you ever walked up to someone and asked the question, how much is your salary or how old are you? If you did, you probably got some really weird looks or maybe even a slap to the face. These are just a couple examples of questions you probably shouldn't ask anyone, but I honestly want to ask why. Why is it so bad to ask people how much they make or even how much they have saved or even just conversations about credit scores, mortgage payments, or paying rent? There is a negative stigma where people just don't like to talk about money, but that makes me want to ask, how old are you and how much money do you have saved? That's rhetorical, but feel free to share down in the comments below, and I won't be offended if you happen to ask me those sorts of questions. While browsing YouTube, I came across Andre Zhik's video titled How Much Money You Should Have Saved, Amount by Age, and then the almighty algorithm actually led me to Graham Stephan's video, How Much Money You Should Save by Every Age. It actually happens to be my birthday today, so I ask, how old am I today and how much money do I have saved? My name is Ver, and yes, today is my 29th birthday. Over the course of the year, I've actually thought to myself many times like, I wish I knew about personal finance sooner. That started with me normalizing talking about it. When I went away to college just over 10 years ago, I was spending frivolously, I made some mistakes that caused me to spend more money than I should, and I just didn't have a savings mindset. As I reflect on my birthday, I actually looked into whether I'm at a good place or not in terms of life, one of those aspects being finance. So I checked out these two videos and I wanted to stack myself up against this rubric that these two set forth. Let's see how we do, and I'll share some of my thoughts and suggestions on each of these ages on where you should be in terms of your finances. At 20 years old, I was a sophomore in college. Jenelle and I actually started dating before our 20th birthdays, and we started off long distance. Then that summer, we actually lived together in Seattle where she took an internship and I just lived with her to keep her company. Financially, I only had maybe $1,000 in my bank account, I had no credit card, I had no idea what a Roth IRA was, and the rent for that apartment room that we were living in was, I want to say $500, so we split that. It was a pretty scary time. We had to pay rent, we had to pay for our essential spending like paying for a bus pass to get work to make money, and then for food, we were barely eating because we were technically poor, making only $10 an hour living in Seattle. But we pulled through and we made it and we're still together. Before I get into how much you should have saved by age 20, and I'm going to say saved as your net worth, I have to define how we will be calculating net worth. Net worth is calculated by how much the value of your assets are minus your liabilities. Assets being savings, investments, or anything with value, and then minus your liabilities like debt. There actually is no hard number on net worth or savings amount by age 20 based on articles. So having $0 is okay, but on average, 20-year-olds have an average net worth of negative $27,000. That could be composed of consumer debt like credit card debt or a car payment or even student loans. So basically, if you are 20 years old and you have a net worth greater than negative $27,000, you are in really good shape. Knowing what I know now, and I want this video to be helpful to you, I'd like to share some of my things that I wish I prioritized by the age of 20. First, you should already have a credit card. You actually become eligible to open up a credit card on your own by age 18, so technically you should already have one at age 20. If you don't already have one, open that up. I remember myself, I didn't actually open up my first credit card until I think after that summer, so I was age 20, almost 21 already, and those 2 years are just missed opportunity on building credit because having good credit will help you make purchases in the future like purchasing a home or purchasing a car. Second, open up a Roth IRA account as soon as you start making money. If you happen to work a part-time job in high school or even before that, any earned money that you make, you can already have a Roth IRA account. The only thing is, if you're not 18 years old yet, you'll need help from a parent to be able to open you one up, and then any money that you have made doing a job, so earned money, you can contribute to that account assuming it's post-tax. The point of this type of retirement account is to contribute after-tax money. So any money that you have saved and invested in this retirement account by the age of 59 and a half, you can pull out totally tax-free. Check out the link in the description below to another video that I made that explains a Roth IRA. Third, have a few months of expenses saved up in a savings account. This is basically an emergency fund, and you should know how much your essential monthly spending is, but if you spend $1,000 a month, $1,000 to $5,000 saved is a pretty good benchmark to follow. I'll tell you, I didn't have that at age 20, so if you have that, you're in pretty good shape there too. And finally, Be invested in the market. I'm saying this based on US residents, but basically the market averages a 7% rate of return on average adjusted for inflation with dividends reinvested. This is like the S&P 500. So basically, if you simply invest in the S&P 500 like an index fund, you'll be set. The earlier you start is actually the difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars closer to retirement. I actually didn't start investing until age 23, which was my senior year in college. Those 3 years in difference is a huge difference in terms of the money that I could potentially make in retirement. Imagine investing in Amazon when it was $150 per share. Yeah, that's how much it was on my 20th birthday, so start investing as soon as you can. I did mention it is my 29th birthday, so I'm not quite 30 years old yet, but in the next 365 days, I will make it my goal to meet this number. A lot of articles actually use the age of 30 to share this checkpoint that you should have this amount saved by this age, and it's pretty consistent across all articles. By 30 years old, you should actually have 1 times your annual salary. So for example, if you make 30K a year, you should have 30K saved. If you make 50K a year, you should have 50K saved. And if you make 6 figures like 100K, you should have 100K saved and invested. But is that really reasonable? I actually waited until this point in time to check how much I actually have saved and invested by this age. And being that I have a year to go, let's see where I'm at. I make just around 100K a year, so by this logic, I should actually have $100,000 saved and invested by age 30. So I'm not quite 30 yet, and my net worth, not counting the equity that we have in our home, is about $98,000. This wasn't the case a few years ago. When we moved out to Los Angeles, my salary was almost half of what I make now, and I hardly had a savings. We honestly took a leap of faith, and after a few years of making my own cold brew and smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm, which if you haven't already done so, you definitely should, I was able to catch up a little bit on my investments and savings. This was after a few hard lessons in investing, spending, and using credit to invest in cryptocurrency. By now, assuming you did do the things by age 20 that I mentioned, here's some suggestions that I think you should have by age 30 in addition to that 1 times your annual salary saved. Your credit score should definitely be in a good place, assuming you opened a credit card at minimum 10 years ago. That good place is going to be anywhere between 720 and 800 for a credit score. This will put you in a great place if you're thinking about purchasing a home or purchasing a car or purchasing really anything where you have to borrow money. 10 years is actually a very generous amount of time because even I opened my credit card a little bit after I turned 20, not even before that, and I was able to boost up my credit score to almost 750 or more just by making my monthly payments on time and in full. Just be smart about spending your money on credit and just pay it off every single month so you can help your credit score. Second, I think it would be very fair to say you should have all your bad debt paid off by this age. If you have any consumer debt on credit cards, you should definitely have those paid off by now. If you have a car payment, you should have that car paid off in full if you can get that done. And if you do have any other debt like student loans, you should only pay those off if and only if the interest rates on those are higher than, say, 5%. For the sake of this video, any debt with an interest rate over 5% is what I would consider bad debt. If it is 10% or 20%, that is obviously greater than 5%, so definitely pay those debts off. Student loans can be okay. Sometimes student loans can be greater than that 5%, but I would personally say, just from experience, that if you have student loans lower than 5 or 4%, you can continue just making the minimum payment on those loans. It's honestly what I've been doing for the last 6 years since I graduated college. I made maybe like a couple huge payments up front, like at the beginning when my interest started accruing, but over time I started only making the minimum payment because the interest rate on them is so low that any money elsewhere would be invested in the market on average at a 7% return adjusted for inflation with dividends reinvested. It's okay. If you can get that interest rate growth elsewhere, it's honestly okay to pay the minimum on your student loans. One last thing by age 30 I want to mention is you are in the prime working years of your life, and you probably have been working from 5 to 10 years depending if you went to college or not, or even before that if you worked part-time while going to school. By this, you should aim to save 10 to 20% of your monthly income and putting it into a savings account, or maybe even that Roth IRA account that you opened at age 20, or if your employer offers a 401k account. Looks like I should keep working on this since it is my last year in my 20s. At this point, you've probably decided that you want to click out of this video because the information in this video after this doesn't apply to you. Most of my viewers are actually millennials, and I can tell this by looking at the analytics. I see you out there. But before you leave, or if you continue watching the video, please obliterate the like button for the YouTube algorithm because it'll help this video reach other people, not just millennials. It'll also greatly help out my channel. And the one thing that I would like for my birthday today is just for an obliterated like button. Alright, by age 40, you should be in a comfortable position to say 40 is the new 25, but that should reflect your inner self because that Roth IRA you opened 20 years ago is going to start looking really good by now. By age 40, you should be maxing out all your retirement accounts, so that Roth IRA, put that $6,000 in it if you're eligible, or try to put in as much money as you can into it. And you can try maxing out your retirement accounts like at work, like a 401k. At the time of this video, the maximum amount you can contribute to a Roth IRA is $6,000, and to a company-sponsored 401k account, it is $19,000. Second, assuming that you now have at least 20 years of credit history, you can consider potentially buying a house. If you were able to meet the checkpoints at age 20 and then 30, 40 years old could definitely be an age to consider this, only if you want to. You may now have kids, you may be married, but one thing you should definitely do by age 40 is knowing how much you spend per month. If you're in your 20s and you're already doing this, keep doing it until you're 40 and on. And lastly, the amount of money that you should have saved by age 40 is 5 to 7 times your annual spending saved and invested. This is not to be confused with your annual earnings. This is why it is so important to know how much you spend per month. So say you spend $2,000 a month or $24,000 a year, you should have saved $120,000 to $168,000 saved and invested. Bonus just in. You actually should have 3 times your annual salary saved by age 40.
But doesn't this contradict the 5 to 7 times your annual spending?
Which one is it? I say why not both? Either way, having a good amount saved and invested, like if it's 100k and you only spend 10k a year, or 300k and you make 100k a year, these are just benchmarks on how much you should have saved by each age, like I mentioned in the video. At 50 years old, retirement is just knocking on your door, so having 5 to 7 times your annual salary saved up is going to put you in a very strong position well into your 60s. Second, say you did buy a house on a mortgage. This should be a good spot to say that you are halfway done paying that mortgage off. If you took on a 30-year fixed rate loan, if you happen to take a 15-year, you should honestly be really close to paying that sucker off. Either way, 50 years is your golden year, and you should definitely be proud of that. Financially, you should be able to say all those times you smashed the like button for the YouTube algorithm have finally paid off. Since I mentioned retirement at this age, calculate how much you will need to retire. You could do so quickly by taking your annual spending and finding out what number that is 4% of. Trust me on this 4%, but basically it has been said that you need this number to be able to retire so that you only live on 4% of the money that you have saved and invested, and it never runs out. Say you want to live on $60,000 a year in retirement. Basically, you take $60,000, you multiply it by 100, and then you divide it by 4. Did you happen to get it? That is the amount of money that you will need to be able to retire to live on so that your money never runs out. If you have any issues calculating this number, just ask yourself, is butter a carb?
It's 40%. Well, 48 over 120 equals x over 100, and then you cross multiply and get the value of x. Whatever, I'm getting cheese fries.
By age 60, you should have 10 to 12 times your annual salary saved and invested. Notice just in a decade before, you should have been at 5 to 7 times that. It seems like a lot, but those 10 years are to set you up for retirement, and your investment should be doing the same, if not more, of the work of the money that you earn from a job. Second, your primary residence should be close to, if not already paid off. If you bought a primary residence in your 20s, it definitely should be. This is also the age that you can start pulling money out of your retirement accounts like the Roth IRA that you opened up at 20 years old. All that time, your money that you've been putting into there has been growing tax-free. This is because the money that you put into your Roth IRA is money that you already paid tax on, so you're not going to pay taxes on it again because of this specialized account. After all these years of growing tax-free, you can finally buy a Starbucks. I'm totally kidding. Don't buy a Starbucks, just continue making your coffee at home. Well, if you want a Starbucks, you could do that too. Don't listen to me. And finally, if you don't want to retire yet, keep working, keep saving as much as you can to set yourself up for retirement and make it that much sweeter. You also have the option to pull out from Social Security, which if you're watching and you're in your 20s or 30s like my analytics say, It's going to be a way long time before that happens. And also, I don't even know if that's going to be a thing when we retire. Just look at it this way. If Social Security is there when we do retire, that'll just be the icing on top on everything that you've saved and invested watching these videos and practicing yourself until we retire. Also, with Social Security, if you happen to put your payments off, you'll actually be able to pull out more money per month if you decide to not start pulling it out at a younger age versus a later age. Just keep that in mind. Those are the numbers you should have saved by age and other suggestions that I have gathered from Google and the 2 videos that I watched from Graham and Andre. I watched both of these videos, did some of my own research, and I would personally give myself a C on where I am at with my finances. These are the goals that I think much of the finance community on YouTube and just in general would say that you need to aim to hit by every age. Obviously, there are so many people who are way ahead of this, and there are some who are way behind. That isn't the point of this video, however, because the most important thing I want to get across in this video is to be thankful for what you have, reflect on that each and every day, and with another year around the sun, I'm just so thankful that I can share this information with you. Realize now is the perfect time to begin working towards these goals regardless of your age. Start as soon as possible, even if you're behind, but also working within your ability to and understand what you need to do to reach your goals. That's honestly what I did, and I'm so glad I did it in time.
Hey, got a letter.
Oh, really? Oh, check it out. Aloha Ver, what's up my YouTube buddy? I just want to say I'm thankful for your friendship. You honestly are my first YouTube friend. Keep grinding and inspiring, homie. I hope you have a great holiday season. Smash the like button. Jeremy Mateo, you heard that? There you go, guys. If you haven't already smashed the like button, smash it for my guy, Jeremy. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching my videos. Whether you're a friend, family, my mom, anyone who's watching my videos, thank you so much. If you haven't already done so, please obliterate the like button. Don't just smash it, just straight up, just obliterate it. If you want to help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. You'll know the next time I post another video. This is a special video for me just because it is my birthday and it's my first birthday on YouTube, but I hope it is a timeless video that can help each and every one of you reach your goals. Here's my Instagram. I'll post it here. You can find me posts on there from time to time. I post there sometimes, but you can also reach out to me on there if you're curious or have any questions for me. If you like this content and you're looking for more content like it, I want to direct you to millennial.investments. If you go to your browser, type in millennial.investments, you could sign up for a newsletter where me and a couple friends will be bringing you more content in the new year. Stay safe, stay well, and with the knowledge that you gained from this video, let's get to work.
Bye.